Real Madrid's transfer mistake. Manchester City are trying to buy a superstar from the royal club. A Messi statue as tall as a 9-story building. Who's gone that far? Rúben Amorim out. Manchester United have a replacement lined up. And a new club for Andriy Lunin, an Italian giant, has their eye on the Ukrainian. All that and more in today's episode. A football frenzy with the top 10 hottest stories right now. Smash those royal likes and we'll keep working without days off. And as always, enjoy your meal and enjoy the show. The episode opens with Andriy Lunin's situation at Real Madrid. He arrived as a major talent with huge potential, but he spent 4 seasons largely as a backup and still hasn't broken into the starting 11. Even though Lunin did a strong job when Thibaut Courtois was injured in the season before last, the reality is simple. Courtois is 33, but he isn't declining, and many still call him the best keeper in the world right now, some even the best in Real Madrid's history. As long as Courtois is at that level, Lunin's route to becoming #1 at Real is basically blocked. The host also notes that this lack of club minutes affects Lunin's status with the Ukraine national team. You can't be a consistent international starter if you're mostly watching from the bench. That's why the move logic is presented as obvious. Lunin is good enough to be a first-choice keeper at a top club, but his career is stagnating in Madrid. Milan come into the picture via Calcio Mercato. The Rossoneri are struggling to agree a contract extension with Mike Maignan. Maignan is described as a crucial player, but the episode suggests he has mentally decided to leave and that Chelsea, under Enzo Maresca, could be his next destination in summer. Milan's problem: they need a high-level replacement, but not an expensive one. Their budget isn't elite. In that context, Lunin is framed as perfect. Not the most expensive option, already tested at the top level, big games, big pressure. Has connections in the dressing room, especially Luka Modric, who's said to be able to assist the move. Bonus? Ceballos to Milan too? The same segment adds that Milan also want to sign Dani Ceballos. He nearly moved to Marseille in the summer, but reportedly pulled out late. And now he's paying for it because he isn't getting enough minutes, which hurts his hopes of making Spain's World Cup squad, even as a rotation option. The logic here is Milan would be easier for him to start. Plus there's the tongue-in-cheek, Serie A is the Veterans League line. Next, Manchester United's winter window. The narrative is that United need to raise money, otherwise they can't buy the new midfielder Amorim supposedly wants. Zirkzee to Roma? Roma have opened official talks for Joshua Zirkzee, described as a loan with an obligation to buy for £30 million. Zirkzee's form is criticized, and the host says Amorim doesn't rush to play him, so the deal would suit everyone. But there's a twist. Zirkzee would prefer to stay at United. Still, the episode frames it as the club can pressure him if they really need the funds. Main shock: Kobbie Mainoo could go. Even bigger is the claim about Kobbie Mainoo. According to The Athletic, as cited in the episode, Amorim didn't rate him highly based on early impressions after arriving. Mainoo is said to have been told he must improve significantly to become a regular starter. The episode then leans into transfer interest. A report via Alfredo Padula: Mainoo is wanted by several clubs and could choose among 10 teams in winter. Napoli are highlighted as the most serious, due to injuries in their midfield. They're already talking to United and might try to sign him permanently if finances allow. From United's side, that sale would generate the funds they need for midfield recruitment. United's midfield targets, Ben Jacobs, is cited for United's transfer aims. United could make an offer for Conor Gallagher, Atletico Madrid. The idea is try first, buy later, i.e. a loan with an option obligation, but only if Atletico agree to a loan structure. Gallagher is described as fitting Amorim's style, proven in the Premier League, with a manageable wage, and crucially, he isn't getting enough minutes, so he'd welcome a move. If Atletico demand a full sale only, United supposedly consider alternatives. Adam Wharton, Crystal Palace. Elliot Anderson, Nottingham Forest. Carlos Baleba, Brighton. But the episode emphasizes the catch. These players cost much more and are hard to buy in winter, while Gallagher is definitely available. This is the centerpiece story: Rodrygo's form and Manchester City interest. Rodrygo's described as having collapsed over the last 6 months, losing the ball easily, dribbling not working, Brazilian magic gone, confidence in front of goal Gone. The host claims Rodrygo even set a Real Madrid forward record for consecutive matches without scoring. As phrased in the episode, the slump began under Carlo Ancelotti and continued under Xabi Alonso. There were also rumors Rodrygo was unhappy with Alonso, despite Alonso giving him continued chances. The turning point versus Manchester City. In the match against City, Rodrygo started partly because Mbappe missed out, and he delivered a huge performance and scored. The episode jokes that Rodrygo always seems to hit prime form, specifically against City. Xabi Alonso is quoted praising Rodrygo not only on the ball, but also off it, saying they adjusted his positioning and that his goal was extremely important, predicting improved results if they keep supporting him. But the episode insists that praise and one good game may not change Rodrygo's long-term fate. It says Spanish outlets believe he will leave within the next 2 transfer windows, even if Florentino Perez personally likes him, the president's weakness angle. Pep's compliment and the transfer push after the match. Pep Guardiola spoke to Rodrygo and later told reporters he said how good Rodrygo is. This guy is on another level. That kind of public praise matters. Then journalist Jorge Pacon is cited. Pep dreams of signing Rodrygo. The episode claims City would definitely have tried in summer if they sold Savinho to Tottenham, but even without that, Pep may still push the deal, even though City already have many technical attackers. The episode shifts to Ruslan Malinovsky. After a strong Atalanta spell, he moved to Marseille, where things didn't work out. Few minutes, few contributions. He returned to Serie A with Genoa and immediately looked more himself. More starts, goals, reputation recovering. Then the big setback, a horrific fracture versus Venezia last season, sidelining him for nearly half a year and requiring 2 operations. The host frames it as a career-threatening injury at his age, but he fought back. This season, he hasn't missed matches due to injury, but Genoa entered a massive crisis under Patrick Vieira, worst team in the league. No wins in the first 9 Serie A rounds, only 3 points. Vieira was sacked, and Genoa immediately won the first match afterward, away versus Sassuolo. Malinovsky scored Genoa's first goal, the classic magical left-foot strike from outside the box. Since then, Genoa reportedly haven't lost, and Malinovsky looks vital again. Juventus and Inter on a free, because his contract expires at season's end. The episode claims Italian giants are watching. Juventus like the idea of getting an experienced midfielder for free. Inter are also plausible because they love signing older Serie A players when their contracts run down. Examples given: Mkhitaryan from Roma, Zielinski from Napoli, Acerbi from Lazio. So Malinovsky is framed as the next classic Inter free agent swoop. A classic young star forgotten story. At the Club World Cup, Academy striker Gonzalo Garcia exploded, started regularly, scored 4 goals. The host says he may have won the top scorer award. This created a fantasy plan. Sell Vinicius and Rodrygo for a combined 300 million euros. Move Mbappe left, put Arda Güler on the right, and use Garcia centrally as the new Academy striker. But reality didn't follow that script. Mbappe stayed as the central striker. Vinicius still played on the left, despite conflicts with Alonso. A right side has no fixed starter. Güler, Bellingham, Rodrygo rotating. Garcia faded out of view. The key stat: over 4 months, Garcia has played only 220 minutes, which is described as nowhere near enough for a young forward's development. Stuttgart won him in January. Journalist Florian Plettenberg is cited. Stuttgart have made Garcia their priority target for the winter window. They sold Nick Woltemade to Newcastle, and the replacement hasn't delivered. So Stuttgart want a January striker, and they see Garcia as ideal. The episode adds that Arda Güler's career at Real is uneven. Under Alonso, he got more starts, but if his recent output drops, Alonso could rotate him out again. With Rodrygo's good performance versus City, Rodrygo could reclaim a starting spot, and Güler could end up leaving at the end of the season. English press are cited. Liverpool are interested. Given Liverpool's current turmoil on the right side, the ongoing Salah situation in the broader series, Güler is presented as a strong candidate to become the long-term right-sided attacker creator. He's described as technically diverse, strong passer, shooter, dribbler, a class transfer if Liverpool pull it off. Now the managerial angle. Manchester United recently beat the Premier League's worst team and climbed to 6th. The schedule ahead is described as relatively easy, giving Amorim a chance to stabilize. But the episode says the negativity hasn't disappeared. Before the Wolves match, United had a weak spell. 6 points from 5 matches, conceded a set-piece goal. West Ham mentioned. Media criticism about defending crosses into the box, so Amorim's future is framed as depending on December results. If he keeps dropping points even with a soft schedule, the club will consider replacements. The standout name on the list? Xavi Hernandez. The episode emphasizes a philosophical mismatch. Amorim, 3-5-2, wing-focused, physical demands, synchronized movement patterns. Xavi, 4-3-3 principles, control, central domination, possession structure. But it also argues they share something important: discipline and strict adherence to coach principles. Xavi is quoted reflecting on his biggest Barca mistake. He eased the iron glove and allowed players to get too relaxed in training, and he won't repeat that. Another positive, Xavi already worked under massive chaos and pressure at Barcelona, which is seen as perfect preparation for United's post-Ferguson circus. The host jokes that if Xavi then goes to Real Madrid afterward, he can safely check into a mental hospital, knowing he completed football's hardest coaching quest. This section is surprisingly detailed and presented like a mini documentary. In Kolkata, India planned to build a 21-meter statue of Lionel Messi, claimed to be the tallest footballer statue in the world, roughly the height of a 9-story building. The episode anticipates the obvious question: why India, and why Kolkata for a player with no direct connection? Messi's India tour. Messi is said to be coming to India for a 3-day tour, visiting Kolkata, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, New Delhi. The combined population of those cities is estimated around 60 million, almost a whole France. This isn't just a bus parade. The program includes mini-matches and 7-a-side games, football clinics for kids, entertainment blocks, autograph sessions, photo zones, exclusive events. Tickets start at about $40, while VIP packages go beyond $100,000, including a Messi meeting, dinner, a named signed shirt, and a penalty show. All of this is described as part of a broader strategy by Indian football authorities to elevate India's profile in global football, similar to Saudi Arabia's strategy, but through spectacle and star-driven events rather than mega transfers. Why Kolkata specifically? Because West Bengal is described as India's most football-centric region and historically supportive of South American football, especially Argentina. The origin story traces back to 1986, when Argentina beat England at the World Cup and Maradona scored his famous brace. Local fans in Kolkata allegedly felt that victory as a kind of symbolic revenge against England, and Argentina became emotionally adopted. So the statue is framed not as random insanity, but as a cultural tribute built on decades of regional affection for Argentina. Messi is also said to attend the statue's opening personally, making it a central moment of the tour. Chelsea are portrayed as living in their own financial universe. Since Todd Boehly arrived, the episode claims Chelsea have spent 1.7 billion euros, yet sit only 5th in the Premier League and 13th in the Champions League standings. The mismatch between spending and output is said not to bother the club's leadership. The expectation? In the next 2 windows, Chelsea will cross 2 billion euros total spend. Targets mention Marc Casado, Barcelona, 22, Chelsea monitoring him as an ideal midfield addition. Transfermarkt valuation mentioned around 30 million euros. Has minutes at Barca, but isn't an undisputed starter. This season, 15 matches, 1 assist. Murillo, Nottingham Forest, 24, Chelsea fighting Real Madrid for him. Forest want a record fee above 80 million euros. Transfermarkt value cited as 55 million euros. Contract runs to 2029. This season, 13 matches, 1 goal. The episode concludes. Classic Boehly era. Huge spending, young talent, bold bets, and no guarantee it finally produces results matching the money. But it adds a fair note. Chelsea performed well at the Club World Cup, and beating PSG in the final is presented as evidence of progress. The episode claims sporting director Deco got Hansi Flick to approve selling 3 players: Rooney Bargigi, Marc-Andre ter Stegen, Andreas Christensen. The host strongly questions 2 of these. Selling Bargigi, 20, seems odd because he looks promising and is improving. His recent appearances might even be Flick's attempt to prove he should stay. Selling Christensen is also framed as strange. Barca leadership supposedly dislike him, despite his loyalty and solid performances. And with Araujo struggling psychologically, selling another center-back risks a shortage unless they buy a new one immediately. Ter Stegen's situation. The relationship between Ter Stegen and the board is described as cold. Catalan media are cited claiming that after returning, he would be only Barca's third-choice keeper, behind Joan Garcia and Wojciech Szczęsny. That would obviously be unacceptable with the World Cup ahead. Because Ter Stegen wants to go as Germany's main goalkeeper and must prove he can still perform after a serious back injury. So he's ready to move. Girona are mentioned as making a loan request for Ter Stegen because their current keeper situation is a mess. Gazzaniga has been making mistakes again. Dominik Livakovic refuses to play, according to the episode. The coach is quoted saying Livakovic wants to leave and isn't interested in playing. His priority is the World Cup. Girona allegedly signed Livakovic on loan in summer, and he has 0 La Liga minutes. The episode says it's unclear why the club wanted him, but it also criticizes refusing to fulfill contract obligations. A Ter Stegen loan is described as ideal. He wouldn't even need to move cities, staying in the region. He'd become a reliable starter, helping both in build-up and shot-stopping Girona get stability. Ter Stegen gets minutes and World Cup readiness. The final part is MLS-focused. Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba officially ended their careers after Inter Miami won the MLS Cup. Miami lose 2 key pillars. Busquets, midfield brain, involved in almost every attack. Alba, Messi's trusted left-sided connection, producing countless chances. Miami prepared replacements. They loaned Rodrygo de Paul from Atletico with a $15 million buy option, then activated it once Busquets retired. De Paul becomes the new midfield leader, more energetic than Busquets, but still capable of controlling tempo and keeping the ball. The episode even throws in celebrity gossip about De Paul's wedding to a very famous American singer, and a plug to their Telegram channel. Left-back replacement Miami also wants Sergio Reguilon, free agent after Tottenham. He's described as a great MLS fit. Stamina, forward runs, constant activity. Exactly what dominates in that league. Suarez uncertainty, plus the Allende. Question: Luis Suarez situation is unclear. Some rumors say extension. Others say return home. Others say retirement. The episode argues Miami should keep him at least as rotation, because even at his age, he remains dangerous. The biggest winter question is the Allende transfer. In Europe, he didn't stand out and couldn't lock down a place at Celta. Next to Messi, he became a super scorer. And one of Miami's best. Returning to Spain makes no sense if he'd be just a bench player there. But buying him could be expensive, potentially record-breaking for Beckham's club. Still, not buying him would look strange given his impact and fit. The ending message: Miami are entering a new era without the Barca veterans who defined their identity. But they're acting logically. De Paul and potentially Reguilon cover 2 key roles, while Suarez's future and Allende's buy will determine whether they can maintain the level set during the most successful stretch in club history. And that's the episode. Peace to your home, friends.